Hello, Rosie.
Hello, Carole. How are you? Happy
I'm
New
doing
Year.
well. Happy New Year to you. We're starting 2024.
Can you believe it? This is an 8 year, isn't it? Is it an
Yes,
8 year?
yes. The
It's an
energy
eight
is going
year.
to be, I think it's going to be, I don't know, there's this energy in the air that I'm looking forward to. Um, I was typing something up the other day, answering a
Mhm.
question to a Facebook, and she was asking, what is your word? So I talked about my word from last year, and then this I heard
Mhm.
this word of expansion. So I'm hoping that could be a good word for me for this year.
Yeah.
So
Well, an eight is numerologically, isn't it about leadership and mastery and manifestation? It's also about money and abundance and money karma too, isn't it?
all right. So
So this,
so there's maybe something to look forward to in terms of that.
right,
And
right.
being in alignment with that energy, making it more intentional
Yeah.
in our way of conducting ourselves and setting up the ways that we want to set things up. So
Right. And you do a word instead of a resolution like I do, right?
yeah, I don't do
Yeah. I
resolution.
don't
I
do
just
resolutions. I
I
do
just
words.
live up to the word. Like last year, my word was willingness.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah. So
Goodness.
then, I was looking at, okay, where are my resistance, my willingness resisting?
Yeah.
And it was about putting myself out there. And then, so I spent since we had the manifesto deck, I spent the next 6 months being willing to put myself out there and to introduce the decks to as many people as I could be. So that's why I did all these fairs and shows and
Yeah.
psychic fairs and
And then you're feeling like your next word is expansion, which is great to come on the heels of willingness to put yourself out there. Yeah.
right,
So,
right. Yeah, so it feels kind of like a fitting word, I think.
yeah.
So
I'm still waiting for mine to show up.
okay. I usually get it later because I like to do this white stone
Oh,
ceremony
right.
that
The white stones
I'm
are.
guided to do with some people, but I haven't registered this year. So I think I was given my word a little earlier than usual. So I mean, one time I was just walking and then I was looking at stones on the ground, and then my word came. So I'm
Oh,
like, well,
yeah,
thank
that
you.
happens to you a lot. You get a lot of signs and stuff and information when you're out in nature.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
received more than one text from you saying, look what I just saw. Look what I just. Yeah,
It's fun.
it is. So what are we doing the beginning of 2024? What are we doing so with our cards and what's in the blog and what's come up with the cards? Let's
So this month, it'll be a little interesting because it's all about introspection. If
oh
my computer
nice.
wants to cooperate, well, here we are.
There it
So
is.
we'll be of course, we'll be using our decks,
Mm-hmm.
and we are we always call them the body of wisdom oracles. If you're new to watching this video, so we created Rosie and I created 3 decks together. I worked on the first two. Um, and the first one was the I Am deck that came out in end of 2019. And then I got to meet Rosie after she started using the deck. And then you started participating in some of my things. And then we just connected and worked beautifully with the crystal deck. So we decided to expand the other two together. So we did. So we have the 5 decks that we call the Body of Wisdom Oracles. The Manifestor came in June of 2023, and it felt like a completion to the Body of Wisdom. It felt like the family became a unit.
Became a family of 5.
Yeah, yeah, no, it really felt like it wasn't complete until the manifestor came. So
You know
now
what?
we,
One of our curators, one of our gals who quickly bought out, and she kept bugging me, when is the 5th deck coming out? When she actually said that to me after she got the deck and had been using it, she came by the center and she said, "Oh my God, I have the whole family." She called it a family. She said, "I have the whole family now." She said they work together so beautifully. They're so cooperative and supportive of each other, and that was Kathy.
uh-huh.
And yeah, so I thought it was so nice that she came in and she talked about it.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful work that we're happy to share with everybody, and
Mhm.
we are so now we're starting January, so it's a new wave, but we've been continuing on the wave of December. So let's just introduce ourselves just a little bit here for those of you who don't know us. And so I'm an integrative practitioner of metaphysics with numerous certifications. I'm also studying, I've studied a variety of modalities, and I'm also doing my master's in metaphysics right now. I'm passionate about creating purposeful tools that stimulate potential growth through multisensorial experiences, because I feel like once you've experienced it, there's no denying. So for me, at the beginning of my spiritual journey, I've always kind of like, well, show me and then I'll believe it kind of girl, you know. And so I've always been I started really becoming a witness of what I call miracles in some ways, and it helped me build my the trust and the fact that I'm this is so much bigger than I am. So
Yeah.
so I like to try to create multisensory experiences for other people, because then for me I'm a clairsentient, mostly clairsentient. So once I feel it, you know, it becomes a knowing in some ways. So and I'm support clients in private and group healing sessions. Every month we have different things that I set up for hopefully for to help you move forward in your growth and expansion. So let's hear a little bit about Rosie. What
So I'm Rosemary, Nevada. I'm Carole's partner in crime. I'm a psychic medium.
in
I like
Litecoin?
to yeah, I like to tap into my aptitudes in order to communicate with all manner of beings, those who have transitioned. I can also connect with critters. I'm a big fan of animals and they seem to like me. So it's wonderful to be able to make those connections for people who can't make those connections. I do direct readings, and I also use various divination tools. Tarot cards and oracle cards are my favorites. I'm very passionate about using the gifts that I have to be able to be of service to others. It's really important to me to
And then
be.
Rosemary also conducts healing sessions
Oh,
that
right.
she always forgets to mention.
I always forget to mention that.
Maybe we need to update the website.
Yeah, I'll put that in there so I remember it. Thanks for filling in.
So our intention is always to help you attain a higher state of consciousness, experiencing a new way of life, looking at bringing in new perspective. You know, I always love it when my clients say, "Oh, I didn't think about it this way," because then for me it's kind of like, okay, this is what I'm here to do, is to bring a new perspective or a new, you know, seeing from a different eye in some ways. So that's what we cater to do with the work that we do, is really to expand and give you the ability to transform. So I found this month reading very interesting with the colors of the cards.
Yes, I was just looking at that.
Yeah, because it's all about darkness and light, and then we have that beautiful blue and light of the download cards, which is this one here. So it'll be interesting to talk about it, right?
Right. Yeah, it amazes me how this just shows how the the cards decks work together as a team.
Right.
And this isn't the first time we've had this kind of thing happen where the color schemes are reminiscent of each other. And we draw them randomly. So
Yes. Yeah, we go, okay, Rosie, you pull, and then I pull, and then you pull, I pull. So it's really, and then we choose whichever deck. So it's really randomly, everything is randomly picked. So
yeah,
so for them to really coordinate this way is kind of cool. Because they really reiterate each other's message. I think they
yes,
really want us to understand that there are ways to shift things around and not keep staying stuck in where we are.
right.
Um, so the first card that we had was so we take the I am a manifestor as the theme for the each of the month that we messages that we create, and so we pulled the merging of energies, and this card is all about um, the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine energy, and depending on where you are, it's always about trying to get this balance and give you a bigger understanding, a deeper understanding of what your responsibility is and what it's not. When we're in balance, we're more aware of what is ours and what isn't.
Right.
And
Right.
for me, it also kind of, we're looking at December, no, January. So now we're getting into a little more light every day. We pass the solstice. So now it's kind of like, I feel like it's moving from darkness to light. So it's about the same movement in terms of our own introspective work. Our inner work is the same thing. It's going from darkness to light. And I feel like it's like I wrote in the blog that just kind of like a light switch. We have to make conscious effort to light our way out of the darkness. Because that's so I think the cards are really representative of that.
Right. And you know what was really interesting to me about this card is the word that flew off of the message for me was um, as what understanding that you have a responsibility. And I thought, how apropos is this? Because we're in Capricorn season. Capricorn and Saturn work together as a team, and Capricorn is about a lot of things, um, societal things. Um, it's just an interesting sign. It tends to be less flexible. It tends to be more rigid in its thinking. So this is a good place to start. And the thing about responsibility with Capricorn, if you study evolutionary astrology, the evolutionary intent of Capricorn Saturn is to take responsibility and become your own authority. So it's interesting that this came up in January in Capricorn season.
Okay. Yeah, I love that you add that information because I don't know much about astrology, so I always enjoy a different aspect of what it means, the different meanings that comes to this.
Yeah, I'm still learning, but that really hit me. I thought, wow, this is big. We're going to be doing shadow work and we're going to be taking responsibility. What better things could we have coming? That's fantastic.
Well, and I think it's that's what drives us into more light, right? Because we're
Exactly.
becoming more conscious and more aware of where our energy is, what our behaviors are, how we respond to things, how we are reactive, how are we reactive to certain situations, and at the end, what are we creating? Keep on creating and
Exactly.
keep on repeating. So this card is also about the completing lessons.
Right.
So for me, looking in helped me identify a lot of patterns that needed to be broken. So I appreciate the inner work that I've been doing is because I wouldn't be where I am today. So
Had you not been doing that, yeah.
right. And started taking responsibility.
And started taking responsibility because we create our own realities. And until
Yeah.
we understand that we're responsible for everything that comes in, it's hard to, it fosters evolution when you understand that your choices that you make and the way you think, the thoughts you put out to the universe, and then the actions you take accordingly are what create your situations, your reality. And sadly, we drag some of it forward with us from past lives because we're still working on it. So yeah, it's really interesting. I get
Yeah.
that. And you know what else just came to mind? You know about Janus? It's the god that has a face that faces the future and a face that faces the past. It's a two-faced, and that's in January. So yeah, so looking both ways.
Yes.
Looking both ways.
And it's all about transitioning to new
Yes, that's
ways of
exactly right.
being. So
Moving from one to the next.
do you want to talk about the second card that
Sure. Our next
we
card, you know, every time I look at these cards, I see something completely different. Who is it? It's one of our other people who uses our cards. Says she never sees the same card twice
uh-huh.
because the way she's coming to the card, the energy that she's coming to the card with gives her a different image. This is the image that was given to Carole by obsidian. Obsidian is basically volcanic glass. So it's very interesting stuff. Um, all of our, this is from the crystal deck, crystal stone and rock deck. They all of the cards begin because the messages were, oh, thanks for showing the box. Show the box for the manifestor deck too. That's the box for the manifestor deck. Yeah. So these were created. Carole did all the amazing imagery, all the gorgeous. She works with fractals and sacred geometry. And the crystals drop the information in for us to use. So all of the cards begin with the phrase voicing a message of. And then obsidian is very, very gracious and very, very willing to share because it says, your strength is my strength is your strength. So obsidian this month is here to support us. So when we need protection, obsidian's willing to surround us and let us know that we're safe. And when we need to be stabilized and grounding, that's something else it's willing to do. It's here to help us find our roots. This is about looking for your roots. When you need to be shielded from negativity, if these are things that are resonating with you, you might want to carry a piece of obsidian in your pocket. When you need shielding from negativity, you'll be shielded. And then when you're searching for your path in the dark, I will light the way. I will be your guide. So when you're ready to confront your shadow self, I will hold the mirror and the light of the fire. And when you need a guide through the I can't even say it. I wrote it and I can't even say it. Potli, which is an Aztec word for, I think it's a smoky mirror.
the smoky and the mist.
Yeah, it's the mist. It's the mist. Through the smoke, I will lead the way. So basically, this card is saying that you're not alone. You have somebody, this universe, source, your spirit team, everybody that works with you have your back. You're not alone. So you can feel safe stepping into the work that you need to do that's coming up because you have a team that works with you and keeps you safe and protects you throughout this. And like I said, if you're getting ready to do some work like this, stop by a mineral store or a metaphysical store and pick up a piece of obsidian. They have beautiful obsidian rings and obsidian necklaces as well if you'd like to wear it. What's your take on obsidian, Carole?
Well, for me, I'm looking at the card from a different perspective because I have the wrong glasses on, and
Oh.
and and I'm seeing almost seeing like the evil eye, because
Oh, right.
you mentioned glass. When you mentioned the volcano glass, it just took me to the middle part of the card, and
Uh-huh.
it's of course it's reflective because it's got both. But if you look in
Right.
the middle, it almost looked like the evil eye.
Oh,
Um,
yes, it does.
and I didn't notice that before in
I've
that
never
way.
seen that before either. That's why they're different every time you look at them.
Yeah, so it kind of made me think about the protection, what the evil eye
Right,
represents, and it's
right.
but I love the fact that it's I know for me, I used oracle cards during a crisis, and because of the stress level that I was under and having to make decision, I was very much in a fog.
Sure.
And I liked I did use crystals to help me, and oracle cards, crystals. I did a meditation. I did a lot of things to kind of help me get in a better state of mind so that I could make the decisions that I would have to live with, for
So
the
you were in the mists, you were in the fog, yeah.
right. So I know that inner work is really helpful in that, to get out of that fog. And it could
Right.
also be because it's interesting, when I was in that mode of stress, high stress and crisis, I was looking at the type of food I was craving. And that was also a messenger, because I was craving um, blueberries, orange juice, and I was craving sardines. I could eat sardines like 3 cans a day, and I could,
Wow.
who eats sardines? And it's not the most favorite thing for everybody, but sardines is very high content of omega 3s, and
Mm-hmm.
that helps with the fog. Blueberry helps with brain concentration and focus. So,
Wow.
your messages can come from different sources. And
That's
apparently you crave orange juice when you're in high stress mode.
right, right.
So, so I thought it was really interesting. But and also the meaning of sardines, it's kind of like it's that fish that always just try to escape kind of thing. It's
Right.
always looking forward to other paths kind of thing. So it's that's the fluidity that I was looking for. So even the meaning behind
Wow.
what I was eating kind of gave me uh, the confidence to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and so it's I don't know, it's just really powerful once you start paying attention and looking at doing that inner work. It's kind of like you can't ignore the messages that you receive.
Well, and you see the world through basically through symbology and messages.
I think so,
So you
yeah.
don't miss a thing. So it's so fascinating when you talk about an experience that you've had like that, where, I mean, who would have thought to put together those three foods and the craving of them as messages from spirit, and just acknowledging where you were and helping you do what you need to do to move forward. So interesting.
So so again we have darkness, the black,
Mhm.
and then we pulled um jet black for the color, which gives us the experience of healing, and by embracing our shadow self, and giving us the inner strength and to overcome any challenges. So we know that we have the opportunity to heal as we do that shadow work, and I think for me the shadow work is just, it's a representation of the all facets of our being. It's not the dark side of our being. It's just accepting how we've been programmed, because we're all unique in the way that we're going to respond, and then based on the experiences that we've collected, that we've lived through, we have different ways of looking at the world. So, you know coming from more of an introspective um, what's the word that I'm looking for, outlook, it gives you a different outlook to life, because
Right.
you're starting looking at, you're really looking at, for me, a lot of the work that I've done is why was this a trigger? And then from that, then I can answer, I can see and I could observe why I was, what I was attracting what I was responding to, and then start making shifts and changes because that was no longer acceptable. So it kind of helped me to discern what I wanted for my own life. You know, it's like, no, I don't want any of this anymore. So it's like, okay, so how do I proceed to the next level?
You know,
So,
the word that I really love in this, the word I find hope from in this, with the besides strength, is that strength to overcome any challenge. And I love so much that the word challenge instead of obstacle was used, because you could interchange those words, but there's a difference between a challenge and an obstacle. An obstacle seems unsurmountable. A challenge is an opportunity to push yourself a little bit harder and maybe see things in a different way. So I love that that challenge is what came through for you.
and when you said the word obstacle, what I'm shown is a closed door. It's kind of,
Yes,
it's kind of like a barrier or a fence. It's like a wall that is just erected that
exactly.
you can't get through.
Can't
While
get through.
challenges, it's like if I feel like it's pretty wavy, like
There's
it's like
wiggle
you can
room.
go
Yeah,
around the mountain,
right, right.
There's
So
other
I
ways.
was,
You don't have to climb the mountain. You can go around the
yeah,
mountain.
it's not an obstacle, it's a challenge. And with challenges, there's options and wiggle room. So I really like that.
Yeah.
And and I love the way that unsurmountable is used in here, because it says, I have unsurmountable inner strength, which means that you have inner strength that nothing can stop. It's unsurmountable. So it's a twist of the way you would normally use the word. So and it strengthens it in a positive way, not a negative way. So I really like that.
And I think, I mean, talking with my own experiences is we don't know how strong we are until we're have to face whatever we have to face, and we have to trust that we can surmount it because we're going to reach into those reserves that we've never had to reach in before. But it's there. It's just there. It's just it may take us a little longer than we would like it to be, but the reserves are there. And
Yes, yes, absolutely. You know what else that came to mind while you were talking about the card and its meaning? Um, when you said shadow self, I can't remember where I read it. It was a while back, probably a couple, 2 or 3 years ago. And it gave me a completely different perspective, a completely different take on shadow work. And it was, your shadow is all the parts of you that have been rejected by other people or by yourself. So whenever somebody says shadow work, most of us just sort of cringe because it's sort of scary. But if you think of it as, well, those are the parts that were rejected either by me or by someone else. So let's look at that and let's see what that is. And let's see if how can we work with it? How can we feel it, feel with it and work with it, help it heal and make it feel accepted as opposed to rejected, so it can be integrated into who we are.
right. Well, and it's interesting because I've been watching some kind of older um historical, not necessarily true fact historical, but looking back in the 1300 or something like that, and the way people were living and this and that, and it's like, if someone today is you're calling them greedy and this and that, maybe in that past life they were so destitute they had nothing to eat for, they came from generation of, so the drive is there to change that reality. So it kind of gives me a little bit of different perspective as to what was endured, what are we calling in this lifetime, and how we find balance within the extremes. So I don't know, it's just really interesting because I always kind of watch from a question eye. It's kind of like it makes me think of, well, how does that affect today based on what was experienced in the past, and then kind of looking at our ancestors and how they live, because we come from, we do have ancestry. um, what have they endured, and how is it impacting my, like, the soul family, and I'm part of that soul family. So how can we shift that energy? How can we shift those imprints? um, but again, not going into the other extreme, but finding the balance in between those. It's just, I don't know. I'm always questioning things.
Well, that's good. That's good. I think we do need to question things because when we become complacent, we either stagnate or we backslide. So it's always good to question. I think that that's a wonderful way to go. Yeah. So our next card is
From the I am
from the I
deck.
Am deck. This is the very first one. This is the mother of them all. This is a wonderful deck because it's an affirmation deck. I use this every morning. I ask what I need to think about or know for the day, or what I need to expect for the ambient energies. And there's always a beautiful phrase, I am, and then whatever. And then there's an affirmation and there's probing questions. So this is how I met Carole. I love this deck. So the I am transforming is the topic of this card. And look how much, this is uncanny. Look how similar they are. It just smacks me in the head when I see this stuff. I am transforming. I transform old beliefs and paradigms. That's what we've been talking about, right?
Right.
Transform old beliefs and paradigms for a healthier me. What is true for others is not necessarily true for me. How many of us really need to have a recording of that, or a tattoo or something where we're constantly reminded of that? Because so many of us are so susceptible and worried about what other people think, or, well, if it's true for them, maybe I'm wrong and maybe it should be true for me. Not necessarily. There are natural laws that are universal truths, and there are my truths and everybody else's truths. And except for the ones that come from universal truths and natural laws, it's really a whole lot of opinion and experiences that make those truths come to be truisms for us, I think. So this is, Carole always asks really good questions at the end of these affirmations. So her first question is, what's no longer serving you? And that's sort of what we've been talking about, doing some shadow work, figuring out what isn't serving us, how do we let that go? And what beliefs that you carry that maybe yours or somebody else's truths, what's holding you back? So what do you need to release from that? What's your
And this,
take on that, Carole?
well, this card, it just made me think of how this card came about, and
Oh, good.
and it felt like, I mean, I studied business because my dad told me to study business. So a lot of choice. I felt like I had a lot of, I didn't have options and choices. My biggest choice or decision was at the age of 42 when I decided I wanted to end my divorce. And because before that I was working, family business, and my dad was very controlling in part of the business. So um, I, I felt very limited. And the fact that I didn't, I mean, I took a certification of the Dream Builder with Mary Morrissey, and I didn't even realize that I had never given myself permission to dream, because everything was kind of set for me. You study accounting, you're going to do this, then you're going to study marketing, you're going to study, it's kind of like from when I switched from French school to high school, everything was kind of dictated by someone else. So I look at my life and I'm like, wait a minute, when did I express myself here? And I didn't. And for the longest time, I hadn't. So that card made me think of that in terms of, and I feel like that's the movement of the card is also about evolution into the light,
Right.
you know,
It's a
from
spiral. It's leveling up.
yeah. So to me, for me here, it's almost like the black is representation of despair in some ways, and then moving into the light and
Into the light.
appreciating everything that has occurred so that I could emerge.
Right.
Um,
Emergence. You're emerging into
yeah,
the light.
yeah. So that's what brought up in this with this card. So
But these cards are really, really thought-provoking. People who come to the psychic fairs that I do will work with the cards and they'll go, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed to see today. I was just thinking about that. And they're designed to thought provoke. That's what they're designed for.
yeah, for me, I was too much status quo that I wanted to. I think the intention behind everything that I'm doing is to kind of nudge you into looking at it from a different perspective and
Right.
nudging you into a different direction and because I had to do that for myself. You know, it's I've had to live through everything that we've done
Yeah.
in terms of the work that we've done. So I had to answer all the questions on the I am deck, you know.
Yeah. But you know what? They don't tell you what to do.
No,
They point directions, many
exactly.
different paths, and then it's up to you to decide. So they're sort of the they're way showers, I guess, but we have free will and we don't necessarily have to do it in that way, but it piques your interest and makes you think enough about stuff that you decide to maybe take a different kind of a step.
Well, yeah, I think it's funny you say that because it's also making me think about I I might have subconsciously done it this way because I got tired of people telling me what to do.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
I
probably.
don't want to come across as I'm telling you what to do. I'm here just to open doors. That's all I'm here
Right.
for. And it's up to you to walk through that door. That's the only
Yeah.
thing I can do is just kind of lead the way, like yeah, like you say,
Yeah.
way shore. It's like
And
there's
and
something
sometimes
different.
you don't even you just put an array. It's not just one direction. It's like lots of choices.
Right, right.
So yeah, that's what I love about all of the cards are like that. Pretty
Yeah.
amazing. So our next card is what?
It's the download.
Oh, downloads, right.
So
This is the consciousness deck, right?
yes, uh-huh.
Yeah,
So this is oops, this is the
there it
deck.
is. Yeah, that's that cosmic head.
And then I love
I do too.
this deck. Um
It looks like it always reminds me of some kind of a glowing bulb inside of a mechanism and it's lit up with electricity and rife with information and ideas. I love this card.
okay, so stare at it because I just noticed
Oh,
you
look,
see this set of eyes on the top? I
I
because I
do.
looked
I
at the
never saw those
middle.
before. I never saw those
I
before.
know. I was looking at the card the way you were holding it and I didn't see those eyes before.
Well, and you know what else I just noticed is that right here at the very top, let me put it up. Let me see if I can get it where it's easier to see. It looks like, you know, the little bulb inside of a flashlight.
Oh yeah.
There's like a little tiny bulb there at the top,
Yeah,
right at the top,
I
right there.
see.
That
Yeah.
looks like the bulb inside of a flashlight. And it's not just going one way. It goes both ways. There's a bulb, so it's shining the light. You choose the direction. And it's shining light with the downloads. This is a downloads card, right?
Yes, yes. So for me is, you know, in that space of quietude, in that space of introspection and doing that inner work, that's where I got the information. I mean, it's like
Mhm.
that's where I get the messages. Just kind of like I'm walking down the path, and that stone talks to me, or whatever it is. You know, the bird comes in, and so those are for me. Those are always constant downloads in terms of the different information, different messengers. You know, the universe sends you
Right.
messages all the time, and through different messengers. It could be a conversation that you overhear from the table next to you as you're, eating or whatever, but then you're hearing exactly what you needed to hear, or it's confirmation. But it's like
You know what they call that? That has a name.
synchronicity, right? Or
Well, the synchronicity, but when you hear something that floats in auditorily where other people are talking and it turns out to be a message for you, it's called a cledon.
oh well,
Cledon. Cledon. Cledon.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Learn a new
I
word.
think it's Greek. I think it's Greek.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting? That came up. Oh, and you know what else I just realized that in this card, it talks um, about the downloads of truth, and the transformation card, what the topic was truth. What's true for you? This is amazing how they meld together.
Yeah, and for me, if you connect with the imagery, it
Mhm.
really helps you vibrate at higher frequencies. It's
Yes.
like you can connect, you can actually feel the light, you can feel the energy within this imagery and this in solaristry, and just kind of connect with it, and then you feel you can lit up your whole being.
Well, and I actually hear it. I
Yeah,
actually hear it has a hum.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering if you're new to us and you're wondering what in soulistry is what we call the art that Carole does, because it's alive, it's living, it talks to you, it gives you information. And because of that, we feel that it is ensouled. It's a conscious, aware image. And so it became artistry, but it was ensouled. So it is ensouled. So it is ensoulistry. Hence the name.
Thanks.
You bet. I'm going to plug you every chance I get. I love this card.
I love what you noticed with the,
The
because
light
I
bulbs.
didn't, yeah, with the light bulbs,
That's the first time I ever saw
it's like,
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I've
They're
noticed
like
it that way
beacons or
too.
something.
Yeah, yeah. And then
And
there's having the middle eyes, to me
yes.
feels like it's you. It's almost like the short vision in the middle,
Mhm.
and then you have the higher vision
Right.
in the upper eyes. It's kind of
Right.
like it's you open that third eye area,
Right.
and then you have expanded perception now.
Yes.
That's the way
And
I
it
see it
it
above
leaves
the
you open
middle.
to those downloads. It leaves you open to the downloads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool.
Very cool.
So be open, as you do more and more of your work, of the
Mhm.
inner work, and as you go deeper and deeper into getting to know who you are and how you operate and how you were programmed. um, the downloads are just, I don't know. It always brings a smile to my face when I get confirmation or this and that, because
Mhm.
um, and also it feeds my faith and trust
Yeah.
that there's something bigger at play that I do not necessarily understand, but I know that I'm part of, and I know
Right.
that I co-create with that. So it's there's always that element of optimism that comes with
Right.
it. So
So there's lots of ways to get downloads. You were just talking about hearing a conversation at a table next to you. That's called a cledon. Um, what are some other ways that I get downloads in my dreams? What are other ways you get downloads?
for me, it's just I'm like one time, for example, I'm sitting and I was trying to create something, and I was stuck in creating this image that I wanted to create, and that was before this, and the ancestry, I was doing the ancestry, and I was just about to close my computer because it was like I had spent an hour trying to figure things out, and then all I heard, it's kind of like I heard circle to circle, and that gave me the solution that I needed, and then I was able to do what I needed to do. And so I get like, to me, it's kind of like glimpses of
Mhm.
I don't get full sentences a lot of times. I just get
Pieces.
pieces of what I need.
And do you hear like sometimes I hear stuff out, and it usually for me, it comes in on the left side. I hear it outside. And then sometimes it comes into my head, it's like a thought, but it's not my thought because it doesn't come in the way, it's in a different format than what my normal thinking pattern is. So then I know it's coming from someplace else, not from me.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it feels like I'm being talked to.
Yeah, me too.
Like I was during at one point in my life, I was told, look in his bag.
Mhm.
And it's like I'm sitting at a table and then I hear, look in his bag. And that was the advice that I needed to do. And then I found information that I needed in that bag. So
Wow.
it's kind of like, and then it's funny because during a certain period of time, it's kind of like no matter what I was listening to, if it was the radio, the channel, a CD, whatever, all the information was coming out. It's almost like I couldn't ignore the message because it was repetitious in the way that it was being presented.
That's because you needed to hear it.
Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that opened my eyes. So, I find that it's just it's to me it's all inspiring
Mhm.
because I can't make this stuff up.
No,
You
we
can't make
can't
this
make it
stuff
up.
up. It's like I know what I've just witnessed and I know what
Mhm.
I've just experienced
Mhm.
and I can't deny it.
Right.
I mean, I had an experience shortly after I moved, or maybe a year after I moved here to Oregon, where I'm seeing this person walking, and I'm like, this person doesn't belong here. And it was still I kind of knew the whole neighborhood because we were still in the first phase of the development. So I was
Mhm.
walking my dog and he was barefoot and he was wearing clothes that just didn't quite fit this era. And
Oh, wow.
I had this, yes, it just came out of nowhere. And it was wintertime and he was walking barefoot and then the sidewalks were not finished. And then I'm getting this sense that this the energy is very old.
Mhm.
And then I he came around and then we actually interfaced and then he patted Sage, my dog.
Oh, he
He
actually stopped and gave
he
Sage a pat on the head?
he stopped. He introduced himself as
Wow.
Matthew, and
Oh,
then
he spoke to you.
he spoke to me, and then he walked past me. We walked opposite ways, and I turn around and I'm like, where is he gonna go? He's barefoot. There's no sidewalk. There's no. Next thing I know, he disappeared.
He was disappeared. Wow.
He disappeared.
So you had
And
quite the
and
experience there.
and then what I kept hearing is after what I kept hearing is look in the Bible. As I was walking towards back towards my house,
Mhm.
I kept hearing look in the Bible, look in the Bible. And what was interesting at that moment is that during those months that I was here, I felt like I was working on the land, like I was doing a lot of work on the land because they were rebuilding, so they were moving a lot of the habitat for uh, the soil was being moved, the grass was gone, the crops were gone, the a lot of the animals were being disturbed, and I was doing some work on the land. And I don't know, it was just really an interesting period of time, and I was shown this experience, and I was deferring doing my taxes at that moment, and then I found out that Matthew is actually the tax collector, so I started laughing. Okay, it's time for me to do my taxes. All right, I got it.
So
I'm putting it away.
information can be given to us and downloaded to us in many, many ways. And sometimes there's this thing that I think is pretty confusing to a lot of people, claircognizance. And it's you get this hit and you know something and you don't know how you know it, but
Right.
you know it as surely as you're standing there and you know it's right. And that's claircognizance. And that sort of, for me, that comes in as like a flash of insight.
And I think that's why it's important to find balance in everything that we're doing, because we can misinterpret those messages as well.
Right.
I did that, you
Yeah.
know, through emotional stress and emotional imbalance. I chose to ignore the flags.
Well, you know, you and I are both people who like to give the benefit of the doubt.
That is true. Yeah,
And it
I
gets us
learned.
into trouble, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that one of the big lessons that I got is one of my mentors said to me, you know, trust is earned.
This is true. It's not guaranteed.
I
Yeah,
know, and
I had to learn that for sure.
that was new to me.
Maybe our topic next month will be boundaries. Boundaries, who knows? So what else do we have to share?
So we have a Oracle Circle every
Right.
third Sunday of the month. So we hope you'll join us. And you bring your deck with you, whichever deck you want to bring. You don't have to have the Body of Wisdom oracles. And then we prepare a theme based on the spread is based on the theme of the month. So we'll have that. It's about 90 minutes, 75 to 90 minutes, depending on how many people come. And it's always a lot of fun because we get a lot of, it's good practices too.
It is.
And it's always about delving deeper, you know. So that's kind of the theme of what we do, is always delving deeper so we can, for me, is unless it's brought to the surface, we can't change it. So it has to be,
I agree.
it
I
has to be
agree.
brought to the surface so we can acknowledge it and then we can work on it. So
Well, then that's part of what shadow work is. And we're doing shadow work this month, and it's bringing that stuff up, putting the light on it so we can work with it. Yeah.
And you're welcome to join our Facebook group, the Body of Wisdom Oracle Circle. So this is one of our group that we have. And then I just created for the Corvallis and since vicinity of like Eugene, Albany, Salem, the Enlightened Souls of Corvallis and vicinity Facebook. So if you want to join us there, you're welcome to do that. It's just a brand new group that I
What is
started.
it, like a week or two old? Something, it's maybe 2 weeks old.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. Yeah, a couple of weeks
Yeah.
old. So
Yeah.
it's in the introduction phase. And if you want to reach us for sessions, you're welcome to do that. This is our email for each of us. And you can find more information on Linktree. It's Soulful for Living, where you have all the links to the videos that we have on YouTube. You have the links to the blogs. You have links to the buying the decks, and
you can shop there. All you have to do is click on shop. If you like to shop, click.
And that's it for today. So thank you and Happy New Year again to you, and many blessings for the coming year. And hope everything is, we're always on the path of evolution, right? So
right.
it's for me, it's always an optimist road.
Yes, I would agree. The best way to is approach with enthusiasm and like you're getting ready to step into the next big adventure. Makes everything easier.
So I will see you.
See everybody next month.
Yes, thank you for being here, and thank you for your contributions.
Yes, contributions to the planet.
Bye.